Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to start our session this morning. It's a loaded day. We are so grateful that you've come on time to be part of this today's session. Right, to promise that to manage time nicely so that all of us can participate in all the presentations. We noted yesterday afternoon that a number of people left. They were not part of the presentations or part of the audience. So we like to front load a lot of activities in the morning so that we'll give you time in the afternoon. So we'd like to appeal to all presenters please to notice time. So this morning we'll start off with a presentation from the International Organization for Legal Metrology, and then we'll have a report from the Secretariat, and then immediately we'll move into the TC reports. So all TC chairpersons and get ready. Will be given 5 to 6 minutes to submit your report by exception, and then after tea break we'll continue with the TC reports, and then after lunch we'll be looking at RMO presentations. So all the chairpersons or RCs get ready for that, and then we'll move into SRMOs. And finally, we'll be looking at PACI, the presentation, PTP, BIPM report, and then we're told that there's a report from SMIC, a presentation from SMIC. So all of us, let's be ready. We'll be guiding on the timing, and we'll stick to time. Thank you so much. So to start our day, we're going to have a presentation from the International Organization for Legal Metrology, and I'll be with you the whole day today. My name is Humphrey Komen. I'm the Vice President Legal, and I'll take you through. If you have any matters, any questions, please see me personally so that we can collaborate and move together. Let's put on together as we receive Mr. Ian Danmiu as he comes to make a presentation.
Good morning. No IML. Everyone, my name's Ian Dunmill. I am Assistant Director at the OML, or more exactly at the Secretariat of the OML, based in Paris. Okay, yeah, that's a bit better. So I'm going to talk to you actually about two things. Firstly, about the OML certification system, and then just a little bit about some digitalization initiatives by the OML itself. You heard quite a lot yesterday from Sasha Eichstädt and Kathy Kulkapeshka about digital product passports and so on. So I just want to add a few more things about what the OML itself is doing in digitalization. First of all, though, the OML certification system. What is it? Well, the OML certification system is intended to build trust. That's the main point. Trust in test results, trust in type approval certification. So the idea is that it enables measuring instruments that are covered by the system to be tested once and then type approved in different countries on the basis of those test results. As I go through these slides, I'm not going to read everything that's on it, but you'll get the presentations later. So just in the interest of time, I'm just going to explain a bit about each one, and then if you want more details, please do read the presentation when you get it. So really the idea is to make what legal metrology authorities do, especially in those countries where there are not test facilities. It gives them a possibility of doing type approval to guarantee the quality of measuring instruments imported without needing the test facilities to conduct all the testing themselves, which of course makes things more efficient and quicker. So it also therefore leads to the cost for manufacturers being reduced. They don't have to pay for the same test to be conducted 10 times if they're exporting their instruments to 10 different countries, as long as there's trust in the measurement results which they're taking between those countries. The system has a number of issuing authorities. You're not going to be able to see the detail of this, but the point is that on this side here we have a list of bodies which are capable of conducting the tests, capable of issuing an OML certificate, and then the columns there are different categories of measuring instrument according to the OML recommendation that applies to them. And the dots there show you which of these laboratories are capable, or which of these issuing authorities are capable of issuing a certificate for a particular category of instrument. So each issuing authority declares what it's capable of doing, and then people can choose freely which of those issuing authorities they go to. That might be they want to go to the one that's closest to them geographically, the manufacturer, so that the manufacturer doesn't have to, or has an easier interaction with them. It might be on the basis of cost. It might be on the basis that they just like a particular laboratory, but they're free to choose which of the issuing authorities to go to. The procedure for getting the OML certificate is normally that a manufacturer wants a type approval in a given country, so they go to that country to get their type approval, and at the same time they ask for an OML certificate. So there's a contract established between the manufacturer and the issuing authority. They then do the testing according to the OML recommendation, which may or may not be identical to what is needed for the type approval in that country. It might be slightly more testing, it might be it's normally maybe slightly more testing, but at least as well as their national type approval, for a small extra fee they get an OML certificate to say that their instrument complies with all the requirements of the OML recommendation. And then they can take that certificate and go to other countries in the world that are using the system and get a type approval in those third countries. It's not all the countries in the world at the moment, but I'll come to that in a moment. So the idea is that having that OML certificate does not actually replace the type approval in the third country that they go to. It just avoids having to repeat the testing. So if you in your countries are accepting OML certificates, you shouldn't just say, oh, okay, any instrument which has an OML certificate can be used on the market. You should be issuing your national type approval, but using the test results, using the OML certificate as a guarantee that the tests have been conducted by someone that's reputable, someone with the capability to conduct the testing correctly. So each country can basically conduct a sort of paperwork type exercise to issue their type approval. They consider the OML certificate they receive, they make sure the instrument they're being asked to allow to type approve is the same one that's on the certificate. They make sure the certificate's not a forged one. I mean, it does happen. We've had cases where people ask us about OML certificates, is this valid? And no, it's been forged in some way, a false claim. They have to look at the test results to make sure that they cover everything correctly, but then they can issue their own national type approval, still for a fee, but it's a lower fee than it would be if all the testing was being conducted. And it does mean that that third country doesn't need all the specialist test equipment for all the range of tests. So the whole thing is far quicker and reduced cost. But different stakeholders in the legal metrology process have different benefits from this. So the consumers within the country, as long as there's publicity and communication about what's happening, they are relying on properly certified instruments which have been fully tested to make sure they comply with the OML recommendations requirements. Manufacturers are not paying for the same tests to be conducted, so their costs are lower and they're getting their certificates from competent recognized laboratories. And then national authorities themselves can rely on the fact that the OML certificate is something which is respected worldwide. How do you take part in the system? Well, the issuing authorities on the right there, I mentioned that's really for countries which have the full capability of laboratories, the full capability of trained personnel to conduct the tests, and can issue the certificates. As I said, they decide upon the categories of instrument they can issue them for. But more relevant is the other two categories on the left here, which are for the OML member states can become utilizers and corresponding members can become associates. And what that is just declaring that they have a commitment to accept the certificates for one or more categories of instrument. You don't have to do it for all the categories. You can just decide, for example, to accept certificates for non-automatic weighing instruments, perhaps, but not for water meters. You still want to conduct testing for water meters. Maybe your requirements are different. So you can pick and choose which OML certificates, which categories of OML certificate you would accept. If you're going to become a utilizer or an associate, you can have more than one utilizer or associate organization within a country, depending upon how the type approval works. Perhaps electricity meters are given type approval by a different body from weighing instruments, for example. It depends upon your national structure. Like I said, you can decide upon your scope which instruments are regulated. You don't have to regulate all kinds of measuring instrument, and you don't have to accept the OML certificates for all those categories. You might have additional national requirements. Maybe the temperature range that you accept, that you require, is different from that's specified in an OML recommendation. But you are allowed to have additional requirements as long as you declare them, so that it's a transparent system where manufacturers know what they're getting into when they come to your country with their OML certificate. And then maybe there are certain conditions, which I'll come to in just a moment. You won't be able to read that, but no, I'll skip that one because it's too unreadable. The additional national requirements, like I just said, it's where you have a slightly different requirement in your legislation. Obviously, we'd rather that all the legislation for measuring instruments worldwide was identical and based on just the requirements of our recommendations. But in fact, many countries do have slightly different requirements. Maybe the accuracy classes are not quite the same, or like the temperature requirements are different because of the climate in a given country. But as long as they're declared, they're open, everyone knows what's required in your country, and you're not just springing these things on manufacturers as a surprise when they arrive with their instrument, that's allowed in the system. The conditions for acceptance that you can declare, and again, it's declared in the interests of transparency within the system. There are possibilities that there are no conditions. You'll just accept the OML certificate and the test results with no conditions. You might want to limit some certificates. For example, if the test results were conducted in manufacturers' laboratories instead of in the National Measurement Institute or the Legal Metrology Authority. So in some countries, manufacturers' test results are allowed. They're usually under fairly strict requirements of accreditation of the laboratory or inspection of the testing, witnessing of the testing while it's going on. But other countries just don't allow manufacturers' test results to be considered. And you may have conditions, how many samples have to be submitted and so on. But as long as I said, as long as they're declared, that's not a problem in the system. How do you join the system? Well, it's fairly simple. That's actually the whole form that has to be filled in if you want to join the system as a utilizer. You obviously can't read it, but you can see there's only 4 pages there. It's literally filling in details of the contact point, the organization that will be the utilizing body. In the middle, the second one in there is just a thing to declare your scope, which kind of instruments you'll accept OML certificates for, and then a couple of other pages there and a signature. The process, once you've got it, again, you won't be able to read that here, but you can look at the presentation afterwards, but you can see it's not complicated. There are not too many choices in here. You submit your application form. It's considered by the Executive Secretary of the system, who is my colleague Paul Dixon, also based at the BIML in Paris. And then it's simply just a declaration from the utilizer country, and you're in the system. So if you are using them already, and people that I talk to often say, well, we accept OML certificates, but how are they using them? They should be the basis for you publishing your own type approval certificate. Don't just allow the instruments onto the market with an OML certificate. You could issue your own national type approval that you charge a fee for, so you are actually making some income off this, and then the instruments are allowed on your market. But do register with us as a utilizer if you're doing this. Don't become what we call a secret utilizer. We have far too many countries around the world who we know are using the OML certificates, but they're not joining the system and declaring that they are. So that's what I want to say about the certification system. If anybody has questions about it, like I said, it's my colleague who's actually the Executive Secretary of the system, but certainly if you're interested in any more details, I can talk to you today or tomorrow, and perhaps just put you in contact with him if you're interested in joining as a utilizer or an associate. Finally, I just want to have a couple of points here about digitalization in the OML. Firstly, we have a digitalization task group which was set up in 2022 to support digitalization activities, and it currently has 3 subgroups that you can see there, looking at smart documents, at e-learning, and a new one on guidance in AI. It's chaired by Sascha Eichstädt, you saw online yesterday, from Germany, with Dr. Yang Ping from People's Republic of China as the vice chair. The subgroup on smart documents, you heard yesterday Sascha was talking about, or one of the two yesterday were talking about digitization as opposed to digitalization. OML recommendations for a number of years have been available online as PDF files, but this is to move beyond that. We currently have PDF files for all the recommendations, but we want to make them more usable by machines, more usable, more searchable, and so on. So this subgroup is looking at what techniques can be used for that, trying out different options, and moving towards a future where our recommendations are more digitally exploitable. That's currently led by Katja Delac from the United States. The second group on e-learning, apart from collecting e-learning material that's available around the world so that other members can make use of it, it's preparing a course on digitalization in legal metrology. That's nearly completed, and hopefully by the end of September should be something that's available online and would be openly accessible by anyone, so you'll be able to follow that e-learning course. And that's led by Kati Kulkapeshke, you saw online yesterday. I didn't change the heading on that one, but that's the new group which we have is about AI. AI is a big concern, not just in legal metrology, but I think in all kinds of metrology and across many, many other sectors in QI as well.
AFRIMETE's interim board that took a meeting that took place in July this year in South Africa. These are the resolutions that required us to follow through. The resolution 9, those who had resolutions from last year, it spoke about how do we communicate and how do we ensure that we communicate the message, especially for those AFRIMETE's members where we know that the metrology activities need to be strengthened. So there's a communication strategy that has been drafted, and it has been circulated for GA approval. So tomorrow, it will be one of the documents that we'll be looking at. The follow-through for Resolution 10 is about the following up on medical devices task team and digitalization task team, which has been, if you look at the Resolution 10 last year, we had to, they were converted to working groups. The medical devices working group did, as requested, sent out a survey again, and they received feedback. And the main thing is about the training that is requested, and also the facilities within NMIs that are able to give specific training in some of the medical devices. So we are waiting for the final report from the group chair. And the digitalization working group also, I think the directors, you would have received a message from the Secretariat where we requested volunteers, nominations for people to be part of this working group. And emails were sent out, and we received some of the responses. But I think yesterday, the group leader, Mr. Pretish Jivan, did send out a form to everyone so that they can fill that form, and also confirm that the members that they have identified will be able to participate in the working group. So if the members have not seen the email yet, or you haven't received the email, just contact the Secretariat and we will make sure that you receive that email. The Resolution 11 was about the registration of AFRIMETS as a legal entity. Legal documents were drafted, and we had a board meeting where they were discussed in full, and those documents have been circulated for approval tomorrow. So this is very important that we look at that so that we can finalize the registration. And also the intra-Africa metrology systems, the name, it has been secured with the company and intellectual property corporation in South Africa. So it is already secured for us to use it, because that's the very important step. The main, what's remaining is for us to submit the final application forms. Then the company will be formed as a non-profit organization. Resolution 12, where the issues of SRMOs, the roles, participation, and voting, they were addressed when we met at the interim board meeting. And the resolution is that the interim board encourages all members to participate in the SRMOs, because that's where we are able to work together and also have be able to coordinate capacity building activities better. So that was addressed there, and I think it was communicated to the leaders, the chairs of the SRMOs. And Resolution 13, it was about the reporting structure and how we ensure that things are done correctly. The TC chairs, I think you are aware that we did circulate a standard reporting structure for everyone on how we can report our activities. And that also includes the sub-RMOs, where we have circulated a standard reporting structure so that we can get as much information as we can, especially in terms of us, where we have to report to JCRB and all that, you find that sometimes we don't have sufficient information, but now we are trying to get a standardized reporting structure so that we are able to collect as much information and relevant information as possible. And will request members to support the leaders, SRMO leaders, with information, because they have to collect all the information from their member countries. And also the TCs, the TC chairs, they also, I think this year you had all the information that you required. The regional and international engagements, there was a participation. Our representative, Mrs. Lerato Ntatamela, represented us at the 49th JCRB meeting in Tashkent in September 2025. We had an online participation in APMP meeting, that's the GA. And also we continued to participate in capacity building activities of the BIPM. It's around 5 of the TC chairs and TC vice chairs who participated in training this year. There was a training for TC chairs at the BIPM. They participated in that. I will not give details. I think the TC chairs will give some of those details. And we had an engagement with SMIC. Also, we participated in between January and March in the Paki activities. And also we are continuing to coordinate our activities with BIPM and OIML and other partner organizations. As I said, this is just an overview. What did we do to improve and improve what we are doing? As I said, that we have a TC chair virtual meeting that happened in December 2025, and there are actions that we agreed on that require follow-up. And also in that meeting, there was a volunteer team that was appointed. They volunteered to prepare e-learning content guidelines and assess the materials before the upload. So I hope that team is giving Ms. Dudu Oluga all the support, because we just want to make sure that whatever the training material that comes from AFRIMETS, at least there's an assessment before it's uploaded on the BIP e-learning works platform. And the TC chairs, we agreed, as I said, that we will meet twice yearly outside the GA. It's very important because we realize that there's sometimes gaps in what is happening in the RMO. And also a training needs questionnaire was developed, and I think Mr. Maujana will present on that today, what they have received from the members. We had a webinar, and we are planning more of that webinars. With this time of where we have digital access, it's easier that we have some of the training. We have webinars on that. So if you missed out, there was this webinar on artificial intelligence for metrology, where we had a delegate from NPL who presented to us. And also, as I said, that there's been training and workshops that have been happening where the experts within our region have been training different regions and different laboratories on different aspects. And I think that's where we agreed. I will not go in details on that because some of the things I've spoken about. And we can see the engagements that happened. I think I spoke about that as well. And the main thing that I will highlight there is the continued support and partnership with PTB on key projects. They are the ones who supported, who are supporting the registration of AFRIMETS as a legal entity. And also there's a food safety testing capacity building course that is going on in the region, where there are experts who are going to different testing laboratories. And the engagements that we had. The governance and sustainability, as I've outlined, that is a central governance priority. A customized memorandum of incorporation and bylaws were drafted and refined, and these were shared to all directors. And I hope the directors have gone through that, because that's what we are going to vote on tomorrow. Those are, the MOI is the most important document required for the registration of AFRIMETS. It's a governance document. And as stated, the interim board has reviewed the documents and recommended them for ratification by the board. Then communication strategy and the funding proposals, we discussed that on Monday as well. I think we did speak to the directors about that. And tomorrow, I think it's during the closed GA, that's where we will finalize the whole process when it comes to these documents. And the other important documents that is not, the document that is not highlighted here, it's the strategy document. We have drafted the strategy document. It's the task group that was formed during the AFRIMETS board, interim board meeting, where they looked at the strategy document. We are working on it, refining it, and hoping that in the next month, we will circulate it to members so that they can have an input. And once we have an input with that, there's a plan that we will have a special GA. The special GA will be online. It will be a virtual meeting where we will approve the strategy. That's the strategy document for 2027 to 2031. And it will be an important guiding document on how we are going to implement some of the activities. And the main thing is that we will look at even the KPIs. I think that there's issues where we have to look at how are we performing. And this is very important because the foundation has been laid, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to move forward from where the founders have started. And they've done a good work. Now we need a strategy of how we are going to engage going forward. These are the priorities for 2026, 2027 from the Secretariat's office to ensure that we complete the legal registration and also implement the approved governance framework, respond systematically to identify training needs. As I said, that the TC chair of chairs will present on that based on the information they received from members. And we will continue to do the comparisons. And also the main thing, we have to engage with the members who are not part of IPM MRA activities. We'll try to engage fully on that, especially now that this new category is coming up. So it will be very important that we encourage the members to participate. And also we would like to advance digitalization in terms of, we've heard the cry about our website and social media presence. And also, as AFRIMETS in 2027, the World Metrology Day poster should be from us. So we have to start working on that. We did receive communication from BIPM last week, and we also discussed this week on Monday, Tuesday. We had a discussion on this. So this has been circulated to EXCO so that we can finalize this and give feedback to BIPM. And also, if you look from AFCTFA area, what really we need to look at are the proficiency testing and reference material capacity building within the continent. And not only that, the testing will be very important so that we can really meet the SPS and the TBT priorities. So that is very important. And thank you. And I would like to introduce, this is our LinkedIn address. Please log in and follow us. And this is the official email address that we will use moving forward. And the website is not yet working, but as we promised that our deadline is November. So by November, we will be having a website that is fully functional. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Executive Secretary, for that report. Unless there are any clarifications or questions, we can assign some 2 minutes. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Penny, for an excellent summary of the activities. I'm very pleased to see that it's going so well. Just one remark that I please don't want people to be confused about the observer status at the BIPM. Your main activity or your main connection and activities in the metrology system, in the global metrology system, will remain through your activities in the SRMO. Of course, that's just an internal arrangement for the RMO AFRIMETS. So this is just an additional thing that if you are already participating, absolutely continue just as you do it. This will just be a little cherry on top that you can now say as a country, we are also an observer of the BIPM. Because I also just want to make clear that the observer category will not open the door for you to participate or to in the CIPM MRA. That's actually just what I want to say, that you must just be clear on that. To be able to participate in the CIPM MRA, you will have to become an associate. So the observer will not allow you to do that because there's a cost involved and we are not now charging a fee for the observer status. So participate in AFRIMETS, its SRMOs, and through that in AFRIMETS, continue with that. This is just a cherry on top, and that you can also access the activities of the CBKT run by Chingas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think it's been made clear. Thank you so much. Seeing that there are no other questions, thank you so much, Ms. Bangan, for that excellent presentation. And why not for that clarification. Members, we are now moving to the technical committee reports and will flow in the following manner. TCAUV, followed by TCEM, TCIR, TC Mass, TC Legal, TC Length, TC PR, TC Temperature, TC QM, and TC QS, and then the report from the work groups, like the Executive Secretary have been sharing with us on Medical Device Task Group, and then finally we end with the chairperson of the chairpersons, and then we'll get questions at the end. So I'm told that TC AUV and TCPR chairpersons are online. Secretary, can you confirm please if the chairpersons are online? Otherwise we move with those who are present on ground. Also like to recognize the members who have joined us virtually. You are recognized, and please continue being with us the rest of the day and follow the proceedings as they unfold this morning. So I want just to confirm if the chairperson TC AUV is online. Okay, we'll immediately move on to the TCEM to come and give the submission or presentation. Like we've guided, the presentation will be done in 5 minutes to 6 minutes so that we manage the time very well. Let's just clap for the chair as he comes to make his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael. I will try to be quick. I'm the TCEM chair. In the last 2 days from Monday, we had our TCEM meeting. There were 9 participants who attended the meeting physically, and then we have got 17 who attended the meeting online. Okay. For the past 12 months, we reviewed CMCs. I'll start with the intra-CMCs. CAPS from Kenya submitted the CMCs for resistance. Those CMCs were reviewed and completed on time. And then we are proud to say that the CMCs were finally published. Okay. In terms of collaborating with other RMOs, we have reviewed CMCs from GulfMet, and we reviewed them on time. And also we voted positively, so those CMCs were published. The next one, we reviewed the CMCs from Euramet, and then we completed them on time, and then there was a voting process, and those CMCs were published. The third one is from SIM. We reviewed their CMCs, and then we voted positive, and those CMCs were published. The fourth one is for APNP. We reviewed the CMCs, and then we also voted positive, and those CMCs were published. Lastly, we reviewed the CMCs from Kumet, and then those CMCs also were published. Okay, so we completed 4 inter-laboratory comparisons. So those are the details. I'm not going to go in detail, and then for the sake of time. So in short, we managed to complete the 4 inter-laboratory comparison up to date. The next one, these are the plans that we want to do in terms of inter-laboratory comparison. The first one is the high resistance comparison. The status, the comparison is already registered. The measurements are in progress. If you remember yesterday, Dr. Venant Law mentioned about the cross cutter project. So we can see in that comparison, there are 4 RMOs that are involved, which can easily demonstrate our equivalence. Okay. Then the next one, we have got a comparison, which is for AC and DC high voltage. Then the measurements are in progress, and the comparisons already registered on the KCB database. We have got 2 comparisons that we plan to start early next year. The first one is 10 volt and 1 volt DC voltage standards. So this one is the key parameter for our DC low frequency. And then the last one is for AC power and energy. Yeah, those are the list of participants. So those two are in at the planning stage. We are planning to register them early next year. But the process of doing the comparison already started now. So those who are not part of this, that are willing to join, they can send the request. The working group, last year we established a working group to develop a guide that we'll use when we do the CMC reviews and submissions. So we are happy to say that the guide was completed and then was approved by the TCM and was circulated for the members. So the members in the TCM, going forward, they are requested to use that guide when they submit their CMCs. Those people here, 4 of them, that are the members who were involved in drafting the guide. Dr. Rasha, Marcus from Nimisa, then Dr. Rasha, she's from Nice, and then Abdella from Morocco, and Dr. Ala from Nice. We did some elections of the new executive, and then Michael Koza was elected as the chair for the TCM, and then we elected Dr. Rasha from Nice to be the vice chair SWAT, and then we elected Mr. Kubur from CAPS as our second vice chair. Marcus from Nimisa was elected as the secretary for the TCM. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koza, for excellent timekeeping and excellent presentation. Thank you so much. Okay, so next, the chairperson. Yeah, please, you're ready. Please proceed, sir. So as he comes and sets up the system, we just want to make one announcement concerning tomorrow's program. We are aware on the program tomorrow we have there's some tour of the city around Addis Ababa. So there are 2 options. There's one where you go to the National Museum, or the other one where you go to the Adwaka Museum and Memorial. So these are the 2 options, but there's some monetary payments which needs to be made. If you're going for Adwa 0, you contribute $10 per person, and then if you are registering for the National Museum, you contribute $2 or less within that range. So we'll keep on informing you. We'll be circulating the papers around, so you indicate your name, which site you like to visit, so that we can make necessary arrangements. Thank you so much. Please, Chair, proceed.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sibusiso Jozela. I'm the TCRI chair. We were given a guideline of the certain points to give highlights when we do the presentation. But as mentioned earlier, the time seems to be too short for me to cover all those topics, but I'll do my best to make sure that I highlight just the critical and the most important points, and the rest of the report will be available for further review. We had a meeting. Our meeting was on Monday, the 3rd. It ran to the 4th of August. It was a hybrid meeting. We had participants that were on site, and some of the participants were online, but it was a seamless meeting. It went very well. I just want to mention the special guest that attended our meeting, the president of AFRIMETE from Cameroon. Thank you very much, sir, for having spent time with us. We gained a lot of information from Cameroon, which we would have not received if you had not participated. Thank you. Um, I'm not going to go much on the mandate and the scope. It is similar for all the TCs, but the most important one for us is that our role ensures that the desired outcome is safe use of ionizing radiation in the region. We were also asked to mention some key activities since we last met. Our team is very small, but most importantly, it is a very active team. On the first slide of the structure, you would have seen that there was IAEA mentioned there, which is an organization that plays a critical role in ionizing radiation system. We participated as the labs that are currently accredited to ISO 17025. There are three levels of areas of operation, the therapy. You can see that Kenya, Egypt, and South Africa all participated in comparisons through the IEA for therapy protection and brachytherapy for NEMISA, who is the only country that has those measurement capabilities. Main achievement and outputs. Those who would have taken tour of the EMI labs would see that those are the laboratories for EMI, ionizing radiation. I think as a TCRI, we always take pride to celebrate one another. So I put those photos there to show our joy and celebration for the establishment of a radiation laboratory in AMI. And as TCRI, we pledge our support for further developments. But this is a huge achievement to have these wonderful equipment installed. I want to highlight the achievement by NIS for the establishment of a primary standard for manganese bath, which is for neutron measurement area. I also want to highlight the expansion of a dosimetry audit program by NEMISA. We have now established the audit program for brachytherapy area. And also there was some maintenance through peer review mechanisms for both NEMISA and CAPS. As challenges, I think this is a very important area for us. We discussed the automation of measurements, which is one of the most critical areas, especially when you have challenges with resource constraints in terms of personnel. You would not want to continue with the manual labor of collection of data. So this for us is one of the key areas that moving forward, all the laboratories want to undertake the automation of measurements. But the most stumbling blocks which are on the constraint side is that of computational skills. Laboratories need that skill. So we see that as an area where we need to focus on through the proper channels of CCRI and other channels. But this is one of the most important area that we need to undertake. This is the one that is very painful to me because you find that most of the laboratories, they do buy equipment. You would have an X-ray system that would work until it cannot work. And then when you get to that point where it stops working, there is no support for repairs or maintenance. So we will be looking at creating that database of available types of equipment, and those countries that have support of trained engineers, we can create a pool of those and ensure that we support one another going forward. Just on the awareness side, as a small team, the leadership team decided to ensure that from now onward, we use the sub-regional platforms to try and enhance our visibility through ensuring that we invite those countries that may not necessarily have the measurement capabilities, but they have the need, because we would have all these wonderful capabilities, but the most important thing is that they reach the people that need the resources the most. This is just a work plan for the next year. And in terms of capacity building, I put these blocks in steps. What we plan to do is to create short lab demonstration videos to assist one another for those labs that do not have those support. That would be a platform which is e-learning. We also want to create dosimetry and radioactivity short courses based on the upper capabilities that we have. And for those labs that have measurement capabilities and capacity to train, we are available to those scientists from newly established laboratories. And you can see that this builds in on what has already been communicated before, because these are the areas that to have functioning laboratories, you'd have to have the government buy-in. But that is the most important one. Also at level 4, you can see that we talk of technicians, but mechanical workshop artisans are also very important for designing tools within the lab and not have to buy everything. This is the last slide. This is the current leadership team. I'm the chair and the 2 vice chairs from Egypt and Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Susiso, Josela. Next, we'll be having TC Mass, Mr. Thomas, to make the presentation. Let's just clap for him as he comes through, please. Okay. So the TC chair will be coming after Mr. Thomas. Your presentation, you'll find your presentations here. We already set them up. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As they've indicated, my name is Thomas, and I will be giving the feedback for the TC mass and related quantities. We had our meeting on Monday, and on Tuesday, unfortunately, it was only 2 hours for us to continue. So we did not have adequate time to have the proper discussions like we usually do. Normally, we have full 2 days for the TC mass meetings. All right, so we had about 26 people that were physically there. And we had 20 online. So all in all, we are about 46 in the meeting, and we were representing 20 countries. So I want to assume that we were well represented. I think my colleague Spusis has already touched on this, the mandate and the scope of the technical committee. Therefore, I'm not going to go through it. Perhaps we should look at, the activities that we as a committee undertake. I think you have already realized that one of the main things that we do is, planning and coordinating of comparisons. And already they have mentioned that we do CMC's reviews. I think Michael has indicated that we do it both internally for our member states that wants to submit the CMCs, and we also do it for other RMOs that want to submit CMCs to be published on the KCDB. So we call it inter and intra review. So In our case, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to indicate to you the the number of CMCs that we do, because there are so many. They keep us busy. Almost every week we review a CMC. So we lost count. But what I think it is worth mentioning in this meeting is we successfully managed, to have TBS, which is Tanzania Bureau of Standard, publishing their CMCs in fluid flow. And we also managed to complete one of the comparisons that we've talked about last year here, about density of liquids using the oscillation type meter. This was just approved before we came here in July 2026, but it is not yet published. And currently there are 3 NMIs that have submitted their CMCs that we are internally reviewing them. One of those is Botswana, but it seems like Botswana has challenges, so it is taking longer for us to finalize those ones. We also having, submission from Zambia. We have given them comment. They're working on it, hopefully. And the next time we'll be standing here, they will be published also. And again, there are viscosity CMCs that have been submitted by Kenya that are giving us a headache because they are very complex for us as AFRIMETS. I'll talk to it later on. So currently, colleagues, this is an update on the comparison that are running. As I indicated, that the MDS2 has been approved. We are just waiting for final publication. And there is one in pressure, MPS2, that we are still at draft A. This also has taken us longer because there were challenges previously where we even had to downgrade the comparison from a key comparison to a supplementary comparison due to loss of critical skills from the pilot laboratories. Kenya took over the piloting. We had to restart the comparison, but we are grateful from the PTB who's assisting us in, analyzing the results. So we are at a stage where we have a draft A, and soon we'll have a draft B report. And another one which has been problematic for us, it is in fluid flow, where the pilot was South Africa, and due to loss of critical skills, we have to abandon this comparison. So we have since requested that it should be abandoned. We received approval from the TC, and we have since informed the KCDB office. The last 2, we are excited about these ones because we've planned them last year, that they are coordinated by CAPS. One, it is in the force with the testing machines, compression and tension. This is going very well. We managed to complete the measurements. We are drafting the draft A report. Soon we'll have draft B. And then there is another one on the mass pieces that is also coordinated by Kenya. It started very well. Unfortunately, it has a number of participants, about 14 of them. 2 out of our region. I think we have the Uzbekistan participating, and we also have Saudi Arabia participating in this comparison. There were some slight delay where the artifact got stuck here in Ethiopia, but I'm happy to announce that that has been resolved. They received the artifact in December, and they only managed to send them out in July. The next destination was Rwanda, and Rwanda We just communicated with them. They are saying they are ready to send it to the next participant. So it seems like now it's taking up. So we are still within schedule, so we will finalize it. As colleague has indicated that we are not only participating in comparison within the region, there are other comparisons that assist us, especially NMIs like South Africa that do have, South Africa and Egypt that do have the need to participate at higher comparisons. So they are comparisons that are being coordinated at CC level that we are partaking in, and other regions also. Like for instance, the first one, DK3, is for solid density for mass measurement. This is only done for high accuracy mass measurements where you have to determine the density of the mass pieces, which is a necessity for one to provide, E1 uncertainties. So there we are being represented by South Africa and Egypt. And I can inform you that both Egypt and South Africa has taken the measurement, but the comparison is still in progress. Then we have the K4 2025. This is for micropipettes. We call it fluid flow, volume of liquid. We are represented by Kenya, and it is coordinated by Portugal. K2 2024 is for mass pieces, coordinated by NRC, Canada. It is 2024 because it was supposed to have started in 2024. Unfortunately, the study to monitor the drift has taken too long, so this has not yet started, but we're going to be represented by South Africa. And then there is another one in force where we're looking at, high, medium, not high, where we are looking at the medium force, 5 kilonewton and 10 kilonewton. South Africa is representing, and it is coordinated by Turkey. Egypt also is participating in the densities of solids for mass on the Gulf Med, and hopefully they will bring it all home. It is coordinated by the Emirates. Again, we have another one for pressure, coordinated by CINAM. Is 3-in-1 comparison. Egypt is also assisting. This has started a while back, unfortunately, but the draft A is not yet available. It is coordinated by CINAM, and we are represented by Egypt. It is for both absolute and gauge modes for 20 kilopascals to 350 kilopascals. And again, on the higher end, 0.7 megapascals to 7 megapascals on the gauge. The measurements are completed for the both three comparisons, but the reports are not yet available. Then there is another one on the APMP side that Egypt participated on the 100 milliliter pygnometers and the 20 liter test measures. There again, we are represented by Egypt. It is coordinated by China. So those are some of our activities, colleagues, that enable us to publish the CMCs after successful participation. And this is just to demonstrate that indeed our number of laboratories are increasing that now have CMCs in various parameters. You can see that in mass and volume we seems to be doing well. We have more than 2 laboratories that are now having CMCs. I think in the last 2 years, we saw with one comparison where Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and Morocco publishing CMCs in fluid flow, which I think is a very good indication. Similarly, for mass, there was one comparison that went very well, and a number of laboratories managed to publish CMCs, the likes of your Kenya, Namibia, and Zimbabwe. So now we do have some capabilities, and hopefully going forward, they will be able to assist us in coordinating some of the comparison that needs to be coordinated in our area. Okay, challenges, because the TC is so big, and I indicated that almost on weekly basis we're receiving, requests from other RMOs for us to review the CMCs. So the biggest challenge we are having is we don't have enough pool of technical experts. And as a result, you end up having, one or two people that are overwhelmed with the activities that they need to undertake. The other thing that is becoming a big challenge is the language issue. Like in our meeting, I indicated that we were about 26 physically, representing about 15 different countries. And in those, we have colleagues from Benin, we have colleagues from Congo, and those are, French-speaking countries, and some of them are very, struggling with the English, and it becomes very difficult then for us to, move forward in a meeting when some are not following what we are doing. Fortunately, we have our colleagues from DRC that always assist us, and we are grateful for that. But I want to imagine in a situation where they are not available, or we don't have somebody who can, speak both English and French, or English and Portuguese, then we don't find each other. So that's one of our biggest challenges. The other challenge is on the comparison artifacts. This has been one of the things that make us not to move, because we plan to have comparison, but because we do not necessarily have a budget, we end up not having the ability to procure the artifacts that we could use for circulation. Then we end up, depending on companies or NMIs that are volunteering to, to assist in providing the artifacts. So we were in a situation where we were struggling to get some artifacts, but I'm happy to announce that this time around, it seems like for the comparison that I have indicated, we will be able to continue with them, because now we found the artifact. We are very grateful to Nigeria, Nigeria and Morocco, who volunteered, some of the artifacts that we have been struggling to find. Now it's just a matter of getting those artifacts to the coordinating laboratory or to the pilot, so we can monitor the drift, and then we can move forward. The other challenge that we are normally experiencing is movement between countries. I just indicated, standards were in Namibia, in Ethiopia for more than 6 months. We are only lucky that we managed to get them out. There was a situation previously, some artifacts were stuck in one country for 2 years. So it is becoming a challenge. Okay, international alignment, I think, as I earlier indicated, that we are actively participating in the activities, both APMP and we are in IMECO also. We also last year participated in a SIM working group where I was invited to come to present our activities in the mass and related quantities. And therefore, as a result, we are managing to work very close with them. Recently, we had an AFRIMETS CCM working group mass, where we were with the, Stuart from NP, who's currently the chair of the working group mass, assisting us with the challenges that we are having, even prioritizing some of the activities. So working closely with that. The other thing that I think I should mention is, when I indicated on the intra-RMO reviews, I mentioned that we have the submission from Kenya for viscosity, which I said it was challenging because it is only one country that can review, unfortunately. and we don't have internal expertise. The expert that we have identified, they couldn't assist, and we had to approach other RMO, and luckily Euramet managed to assist us. So we had reviewers from Italy that did what we would normally call intra for us. So they were reviewing the CMCs before they get circulated to be reviewed by other RMOs. So we still continue, and so we are grateful for that. Those are some of the comparison that we have planned. As I indicated, LPE, is going to assist us with the artifacts for the one-off volume of liquids. Nigeria volunteered for the 2 in pressure, and so we're going to move. And one of the other thing is that we have identified is before the end of this year, we need to have a workshop for the reviewers. We tend to register as reviewers, but because people were not necessarily being given the necessary training, then we end up with people registered as reviewers but not reviewing. So we want to assist them, in that process. We acknowledge that BIPM has been, running those workshops or webinars where we are expected to attend them and familiarize ourselves with the processes on how we should go about this. But it seems like some of our colleagues are not necessarily partaking in those. So we want to encourage everyone, especially the technical people, to partake in these activities. We continuously share the information as soon as we receive it. So I will want to encourage all the technical people to be involved in those. Capacity, I think I will talk more up to it when I'm giving the feedback for the training needs. In our case, our needs are very diverse. There are other NMIs that are requesting very advanced or specialized training, and there are those that are asking for the basics. There are some that are saying we need to understand processes for us to get accreditation. And there are those that are talking about magnetic susceptibility, for instance. Those are very wide apart. So it becomes a challenge for us, but we will see how to go about it. Colleagues, this is the technical committee leadership that has been confirmed. Unfortunately, you're still going to see me in the next meetings because I've been confirmed to continue as the chair for the TC MAS, assisted by Dr. Wilson Ombati from Kenya. And we have working group chairs as indicated there. Unlike with other technical committees, unfortunately, the chair and the vice chairs could not afford. So we need assistance in respective areas. Hence, you see, we're having a sub-working group for density and viscosity, for force and torque, for fluid flow, for mass, for pressure and vacuum. And those are the personnel that have been confirmed. The new ones that I must indicate, it's Miss Samira from Morocco, that is going to assist in mass. We have another one, a new one in fluid flow from Ethiopia. We have a new one from Tanzania in pressure and vacuum. Those that are having 2 vice chairs is because they are not yet at the stage where they can take over. So they still need to be mentored. And hopefully after a year or 2, they will be in a position where they could be the vice chairs and so. So basically that is, colleagues, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for that presentation. So immediately going to the TC Legal presentation. Yes, please. So as we're waiting for the presentation, just to remind all of us here that let's ensure that we register in the paper going around for attendance. Ensure each of the days you are registered. And secretaries had indicated that there's one day for one paper which is missing. If you have a paper for attendance, please just let us know. Let the secretaries know. We'd like to account for every person who is present here. So the paper is going around, and then second reminder for those joined us for the tour of the city tomorrow. We have papers going there. There are two options, ADWA and the National Museum. If you want to go to ADWA, it's $10, and then for National Museum, less than $2 to participate in that. Thanks so much. Okay, so I'll briefly speak to the presentation on the TC Legal, the meeting which was held earlier this week, just to give highlights within 5 minutes. The first issue is that I'd like to recognize the attendance of the OML president, the TC Legal, and also the AFRIMETS General Assembly, which is the first of its kind, the first in the history of AFRIMETS. I think it's worth recognizing and mentioning. The other issue, which is a new matter, is the collaboration now with the College of Business of Education of the United Republic of Tanzania, who came on board and attended the meeting and did the presentation through the head of the institution. So that was very significant to be looked at. Obviously, the all-weather friend, the PTB, also present in the meeting. These are the the current office bearers who were confirmed in the meeting. Mr. Humphrey Koben from Zambia, the Vice Chairperson, Mr. Evans Asiedu, the Director of Metrology from Ghana Standard Authority, and Secretariat, Mr. Ivan Willis from South Africa. The other matters which are related to membership, which are critical, which we would like to escalate to GA, is an issue of some member states belonging to multiple SRMOs. And the clarification required, this was presented last year. So the TC would like to resubmit this matter on the clarification related to voting in the GA and also in the participation. By voting means to which bloc should these countries belong. So that clarification is important. The other matters is that 3 reports were received from SRMOs, but significantly 2 SRMOs did not submit, and this has been taking place from last year. The SEMA-MET and the NUMET. So the TIS would like to escalate this matter to EXCO to help, and Secretariat to help engage these 2 SRMOs on their status in terms of existence and participation in this TC. The other matter, which is very, very significant, is an issue of the going forward. There are a number of initiatives, and this has to do with establishment of 6 working groups, which was based on the priorities which legal metrology will undertake within the African continent. So the first item is the issue of prepackaged commodities, the sale of goods. So this will be led by South Africa, but there are other member countries that are running with South Africa. The other working group is dynamic measuring instruments, to be led by the United Republic of Tanzania, of course, with a number of other countries. The third one is the utility meters, to be led by South Africa. The law enforcement equipment, like speed cameras, alcometer testing, will be led by Kenya. Medical devices also be led by Kenya. Legal framework, education, and awareness will be led by Zambia. Now, there are a minimum of 5 other countries who will be working with this leading country. And other countries who are not part of that group, you are free to join at any particular time, any of this working group, to participate. This is very, very important, and we're going to run with this very, very seriously. As we meet next year, you see the results and the trainings which have been taken in these particular areas. From what I've just explained, the summary is that 1, the TC felt that we have increased the collaboration or continental cooperation, legal metrology, looking at a number of increased participation. Also, the president of IML participating, PTB and academia joining us. We thought that as enhanced participation or a partnership with this very, very important institution. Also, like we have escalated the issue of these 2 SMOs, we like each SRMO to be accountable, be able to deliver the results, and be able to be submitting reports. And then also, of course, the establishment of the technical working groups that will help us to harmonize the laws and also build capacity building across the African continent. Thank you so much. Amaseginaro. Asante sana. Thank you so much. At this moment, we'd like to invite the next TC chairperson to come and give his presentation. The chairperson of TC Length, Mr. Bernard Ganda, could come over and make his presentation. Please come through, sir. Let's just clap for him as he comes, please. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Just for correction, my name is Patrick Masina. I'm one of the vice chairpersons for TC Length. I'm from NMISA in South Africa. I'll present on the activities that we did during our meeting. So I'll just be reporting on the attendance, activities, the TCL office, international recognition, research and development project, and then future plans as it highlighted. So we held our meeting on Monday. So we had a 60% improvement on attendance, and also we had one of our observer from CIM China, we appreciate. So we had improvement in the in-person participation, and then we also had improvement on the online participation. So in the previous TCL meeting that was held in Ghana, so we had a resolution to form 2 working groups in order just to ensure that we cover as much as possible of the services which are offered in the DIMVIM. So the DIMVIM is that a document which covers services which are conducted in length, but that is just a snapshot. So that is a 3-page document which is covering almost over 50 parameters. So you can just imagine the scope and the work that must be covered. So the structure of the TCL, we've got a chairperson, and then we've got 2 vice chairpersons, one responsible for working group 1, and then one responsible for working group 2. So in the previous meeting, under working group 1, we had linear dimensions, and then under working group 2, we had hand instrument. So the red items are the new items that we added on that scope of the working groups to ensure that we cover as much as possible activities as they are shown on the DIMVIM document. So the TCL office, with the lot of work which is currently ongoing, for instance, like we've got 9 comparisons which are currently ongoing. I think my chair did present on Tuesday the comparisons. So we decided to maintain the structure with the chairperson being Mr. Bernard Ganda, and then I'm the vice chairperson for working group 1. Mr. Calvin Bore is the vice chairperson for working group 2 from Kenya. And then we've got our secretary sitting there, it's Natasha from Zambia. And then also it was noted that Mr. Kanda and myself, we both attended the 2026 CIPM RMI on supporting TC chairs and vice chairs, which was held in France, I think in the previous month. So we hope to use the knowledge we gain there to take this TCL into greater heights. So these are the list of the ongoing intercomparisons. So we've got almost 9 of them. One is under planning, which is the cash block by mechanical comparison. So NIMISA made the artifact available, and then the rest are supplementary comparisons, which according to our techniques, they are all traveling in group so that we mitigate cost and whatsoever. The only comparison that we are having challenges on is the one which has key comparisons on cash block by interferometry. So NIMISA and NIS Egypt were the only one which were having the capability in the region. So the other participants were from the other RMOs. So the current challenge that we have is that the artifact has stuck in Argentina, but we are trying to get assistance in order to have it completed or decide if maybe is it still feasible or not. And then also in the previous meeting, 5 protocols were successfully reviewed as one of our tasks that we usually do, and then now are registered in the KCTP, and then the artifact are in circulation. So we had future plans because of availability of other artifacts. So we are planning comparisons on setting ring engaged blocks and surface plates. And then also we also identified needs from other NMIs. So also a few ILCs were proposed with interest from various countries, including Nigeria, TPS, and Mauritius. I'll not go into each detail. And then, so these are the future plans, and then that we had identified. And then in international recognition, we've got NMIs which are accredited by ILEC accredited bodies. We had 8 of them, and then some they demonstrate their capability by peer review. So we've got others which were peer reviewed, with the latest one being Morocco in 2025. Under CMCs, we've got 4 CMCs from TPS which are under intra-RMO review. We don't have any ones which are under inter. And then from the previous meeting, there were 5 new CMCs which were registered, with 4 coming from Zimbabwe and 1 from CAPS. So that takes the total of our CMCs to 60, with the countries listed below being the ones having the CMCs in the KCTP. And then also there were plans which are identified from the other countries who are planning to submit CMCs, being Morocco and Botswana Bureau of Standard. Under R&D project, we've got a tape tunnel upgrade project, which is piloted by NIMISA, and then but is intended for TPS and CAPS. A lot of work has been done, so the only remaining step is to ship some of the manufactured parts to the two countries for installation. So we also identified training needs from the members, which range from optical and laser interferometry up until to tape tunnel and laser calibration. That's where my presentation will end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next is TC Piara, but I'd like to confirm if Dr. Tarek is online now to present on AUV. If he's not there, we'll proceed. TC Piara also has told Dr. Al who present remotely. Are you present, TC Chairperson Piara? Just speak out to hear you if you are online. Okay, so if it's not there, we're moving to TC Temperature. Dr. Ethan Ejiku, please come. Thanks so much. Let's clap for him as he comes, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ephraim. I'm the current AFRIMETE TCT chair. I will be presenting the activity of the temperature technical committee activity during the reporting period. The activities are, as you see them in the content here. My previous colleagues has already mentioned about the mandate of the TC committees within the AFRIMETES, but the main issue here is the scope. Maybe some of you might not know. It includes temperature, humidity, moisture, and thermophysical quantity. In fact, in Africa, it's only temperature that is active and also humidity. The rest are not that much active. We conduct our meeting on Monday, on August 3, 2026, and there is a good participation that we see, and both physical and virtual participation. As you can see, there are a number of NMIs represented here, and in a virtual meeting also some of NMIs. And some other CIMM from China also participated our meeting as an observer. Moving on, there are some intercomparisons that are still conducting on. There are two, AFRIMETE TS3 and AFRIMETE TS7. AFRIMETE TS3 is currently in the final stage. It's in Mozambique now. After Mozambique, it will be completed. AFRIMETE TS7 is in Ghana now, and after that, it will go to Tanzania and it will be completed. But we have faced some challenges in order to complete this intercomparison. In the case of AFRIMETE TS3, it's purely from the NMI's management decision. It's delayed in Botswana for about more than a year. In Namibia, it's delayed by more than a year again, which is unacceptable, and it delays our intercomparison, and most of the NMIs need the result, and it was delayed by the wrong decision by the NMIs. And also, AFRIMETE TS3 is PRT, and PRTs we specifically put in the protocol, please don't move the artifact via courier, but they keep on couriering it, which is unacceptable again. And at the end of the result, we might not use the results, and you might not use and try to claim any CMC out of that intercomparison because of the decisions that are made by the management. And I just want to stress that. And AFRIMETE Tier 7, again, there is a custom issue in Morocco. It was delayed by 1 year. And again, there is some problem with custom issue within Africa's environment. And that needs to be improved as well. There are some planned intercomparison in radiation thermometry, humidity, moisture, and also a fixed point as well. But we have to complete what we have started and then move on to the next one. AFRIMETE is also participating in international intercomparison organized by the CCT and organized by APMP, and if there are others in Euramet or SIM as well. The ones that are listed here are from the CCT, CCTK 9.3, CCTK 4.2. Those are key comparison in fixed point measurement, and it's morely bilateral between South Africa and Spanish Metrology, and it's from zinc point or argon points to aluminum point. And CCTK9 is for body infrared thermometer. APMP K4.2 is again a fixed point from Asian Pacific, and it is completed and it's published now. The CCTK 9.3 and CCTK 4.2 is they are on 9.3 is on draft B, and K4.2 is on draft A. CCTK 11 is under measurement. The CCTK 4.2 is completed already and is published. And APMPS 11 and 12 were completed long time ago, but the report, we are still waiting for the report. And APMPK 6.2013 is a humidity measurement. It's on draft B. APMPS 13, again, is a humidity measurement. It's on a draft A. APMPS 11 is on draft B. In all of these intercomparisons, South Africa is the only country that is participating in. And we advise NMIs within AFRIMETE to participate in international intercomparison wherever they could get a chance so that they can promote their status. There was CMC submission starting in last year. It was from Tanzania Bureau of Standard. Tanzania Bureau of Standards submitted CMC on thermometry service classification 2.2, 2.31, 2.3.2, 2.4.1, and 2.7.1. And we are happy to declare to you that all of those CMCs, the 17 of them, are published. And this is a big achievement for AFRIMETE's TCT. And the Botswana Bureau of Standard CMC was grayed out. This is because of the quality system approval issue. This is the statistics of our approved and published CMC for the past 8 years. You can see that our CMC tally is growing up, and we have in total now 56 CMCs, which is contributed by 8 countries, excluding South Africa, because South Africa's CMC has been published long time ago. I didn't include it here, okay? So you can see the graph. It shows that, and it shows the progress from 2018 to now. We are busy, we are actively participating in an inter-RMO CMC review process. There are lots to review because there is a capacity problem within AFRIMETE, so we have to handle all of that, and it's a lot of CMC that we are reviewing every time. There are some capacity buildings that we are participating in. NIMISA provided humidity metrology training to metrologists from NSI, that is Namibian Standard Institute, at a NIMISA lab. NIMISA Temperature Laboratory supported SATCAS by participating in assessment in National Metrology Institutes in several countries, ZMA, CIRDIC NMI, and NSI. NIMISA Temperature Laboratory supported AFRIMETE TCT West by conducting peer reviews of the temperature laboratory of the National Institute of Standard, that is Egypt, in their thermocouple fixed point measurement laboratory. Tanzania provides attachment or training to Malawi Bureau of Standards metrologists. UNBS metrology staff get training from Tubitak Yume. CABES provide training for Uganda National Bureau, National Public Health Lab, and Malawi Public Health Lab. These are the capacity building needs. You can see the priority indicated here on the left side, and in the middle you can see the capacity building that is needed. The priority is for CMC development and submission. There is a need for capacity development, measurement uncertainty and data analysis, ILC pilot laboratory development, metrology awareness program for policymakers and decision makers. Those are the priorities that are indicated by the participants, and those are the expected outcomes on the left. And the second priority is ITS 90 fixed point training, humidity and moisture metrology training, ISO IEC 1705 training, assessor and peer reviewer training, and train the trainer program. Those are in the second, and the last two are in the third priority list. We face some challenges. There is limited availability of ILC in the field of temperature and humidity within the AFRIMETE, a limited number of NMIs capable of serving as ILC pilot laboratories, resulting in fewer comparisons opportunities within the region, a limited number of NMIs with sufficient expertise and resources to provide specialized metrology training to other laboratories, challenges related to African customs procedure, causing delays in the shipment and clearance of comparison artifacts. Suggestion is to have AFRIMATE-wide travel document. Maybe AFRIMATE Secretariat need to think about this and try to give us some advice on this. Misinterpretation of comparison protocols, particularly regarding the approved modes of transportation for comparison artifacts, that causes the delay, the breakage of instruments and degradation of our artifacts. And non-adherence by some NMIs to agreed comparison commitments, including delays in measurements and reporting, budget constraints which limit participation in comparison, training activities, and technical meetings. These challenges may affect the timely execution of regional comparison, capacity building activities, stakeholder confidence, and overall progress of metrological traceability and quality assurance across the AFRIMETE region. The achievement, I've already said it earlier, but I want you to put hands to Tanzania for the 17 CMCs that they published within a year. Thank you. There are some research and development that are going on in South Africa as well, and in Egypt. In South Africa, there is an ongoing R&D on the evaluation of emissivity and temperature using signals obtained from a multi-wavelength infrared thermometer, ongoing R&D on traceability of thermal images. There is a completed research within this year on investigation, design, consideration, and offset in body infrared thermometer accuracy. Is published in the Journal of Thermophysics. Engagement in the APMP thermal imager project, including experimental investigation of thermal imager testing principles, modernization and automation upgrade of the thermocouple measurement system within NMIC temperature lab. At NIS Egypt, improvement of moisture measurement for Egyptian wood samples at NIS Egypt, temperature effect in calibration of NIS reference humidity sensors using a two-pressure humidity generator, new adiabatic calorimeter for calibrating capsule standard platinum resistance thermometer in low temperature fixed points at NIS Egypt, automated control stirrer liquid bus system for calibrating contact thermometers in the temperature range from -80 to 420 degree. This is just a highlight of the research activity. There was election, but the committee has decided to re-elect the current management, the chairman to be myself, and the vice chairs to be Mr. Richard Odak from KEBS and Dr. Mohammed Gamal from NIS. Thank you.